Hello everyone, my name is Cora. Welcome back to my channel, Pampered Pages, and welcome to my summer TBR. Before we get into my summer hopefuls, let's look back at the books I planned on reading this spring. I've been on a mission this year to tackle my TBR shelf, more like TBR shelves at this point. So for my spring TBR, I selected 6 books from their midst to read throughout the season. Now, I did take some mood reading detours along the way, mainly into the MPU, but that was to be expected as my mood is going to mood as it pleases. However, I did end up reading all 6 books. From that list, the first book I read was A Fate, Inked in Blood by Danielle Jensen. I had such a fun experience reading this one and actually vlogged a majority of it. A Fate, Inked in Blood is a Norse-inspired adult fantasy romance, and I do have a spoiler-free review up here on my channel if you are interested in hearing a more in-depth commentary. Now, according to Danielle Jensen, this is set to be a duology, so yay, with book 2 currently scheduled to be released in spring 2025. Up next, I read Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is a story about 2 sisters, Scarlett and Tella, who get swept away into a game, Caraval, that completely alters their lives as they know it. Caraval was equally a whimsical and frightful experience that had me second-guessing reality throughout. I definitely do plan on continuing with the second book in this trilogy, Legendary. However, at the moment, I'm not too sure when that will be. Maybe this summer? I don't know. After Caraval, I read The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. I loved this book, and I do have a spoiler-free review up if you are interested in hearing more. The Lost Bookshop was such a memorable read with beautiful storytelling, and as I mentioned in my review, I definitely look forward to reading more from Evie Woods in the future. Following The Lost Bookshop was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. This is a story about a shepherd boy named Santiago who travels from his home in Spain to the Egyptian pyramids in search of treasure. Along the way, he meets several individuals who help guide him on his quest while also encountering his fair share of obstacles as he fulfills his dream. I talked about this book in a recent reading vlog, and to be honest, I'm still reflectively simmering with my thoughts on this one. I did take some notes and made quite a bit of annotations, which I plan on returning to in the future. Fifth from the list was One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This was such an entrancing read. I loved it so much. Like The Alchemist, I also talked about this book in my most recent reading vlogs. One Dark Window is the first book in the Shepherd King duology and follows our main character, Elspeth Spindle, who meets a mysterious highwayman and ends up joining a risky quest to cure the mist-locked kingdom of Blunder from the dark magic infecting it. Now, the history of this magic runs deep, even more so for Elspeth, for she harbors the Nightmare, an ancient mercurial spirit trapped inside of her head. With this highwayman, who just so happens to be the king's nephew, among other things, Elspeth finds herself working alongside several other individuals as they secretly track down Providence cards, aka the keys to the cure. As stakes heighten and relationships shift, Elspeth is also confronted with a secret herself, that the nightmare inside of her head is slowly taking over her mind. Major takeaways: I loved the magic system and world building. After finishing, I was very eager to learn more, primarily in regard to the characters and the history of Blunder. The overall eerie and mystical vibes had me running right to book 2, Two Twisted Crowns, which picked up practically right where One Dark Window left off. And finally, the last book I finished reading from my spring TBR was House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. You guys, this book took me the longest to finish, primarily because I would pick it up, start reading it, get a little overwhelmed, then set it back down, jump into something else. I was also in the middle of the MPU. Nevertheless, I finally jumped back in. I recommitted and quickly found myself back in the world that took such an emotional toll on me back when I read House of Earth and Blood. Which brings me to now. Summer is summering, and just like last season, I felt out the vibes on my shelves and selected another 6 books. In alphabetical order, the first book on my summer TBR is Lightlark by Aster. I talked about this book in my birthday book haul back in April. Basically, every 100 years, an island called Lightlark appears to host a deadly game where rulers from 6 realms fight to break curses and win power. However, in order to break these curses and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. Hello? Throw me in. Not literally, of course. If you've been following my reading vlogs, you will know that I have been in London. also not literally, with Magnolia Parks at all. The last book I finished reading in the MPU was Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, which now leads me to Magnolia Parks Into the Dark by Jessa Hastings. This is the fifth, but not final, published book in the Magnolia Parks universe, and I have to say, I've been pleasantly surprised with how much I've come to enjoy this series. In my opinion, the books just keep getting better and better. However, emotionally, my feelings for these characters, their lives, their stories just keep investing themselves deeper and deeper. So I am fully prepared for tears and tissues. Third, we have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This trilogy has been on my radar for so long. In this story, you follow Jude. Jude was 7 years old when her parents were murdered, and she, along with her two sisters, were stolen away to live in the High Court of Fairy. Flash forward 10 years, Jude wants nothing more than to belong here. However, many of the Fae despise humans, especially a specific prince who Jude must defy in order to win a place at the court. The info from this blurb is all I really know. I've also tried to steer clear of spoilers, but I really hope I enjoy this first book so that I can continue along with book 2, The Wicked King, which is also on my TBR. Another book / series that has been on my radar for quite a while, years at this point, is Bridgerton. Back in May, I found the box sets for books 1 through 4 and 5 through 8. Thank you, Costco. Thus begins my Bridgerton adventure with book 1, The Duke and I. This is Daphne's story, and I'm very much excited and looking forward to seeing how her book compares and contrasts with her journey in the show, as I am with the other books and show seasons that are out. Switching gears and genres, I then selected The Fury by Alex Michaelides. When I first read this blurb, I was reminded of Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. Basically, we have a reclusive ex-movie star who invites a group of her friends to her private Greek island where murder and mayhem transpire. I'm always down for a good mystery, so hopefully this is just as gripping as it sounds. Keeping on the mystery train, the final book on my summer TBR is The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. This book screamed at me, please read me this summer. So here we are. This is a story about two women, Emily and Chess, childhood besties who are now in their 30s with demanding adult lives. They end up traveling to Italy for a girls' trip with plans of reconnecting while they stay in a fabled Italian villa. Once there, Emily starts digging into the villa's history, a history that involves murder. On the back, the blurb reads, inspired by Fleetwood Mac, the Manson murders, and the infamous summer Percy and Mary Shelley spent with Lord Byron at a Lake Geneva castle, the birthplace of Frankenstein, the villa welcomes you into its deadly legacy. Another summer, another mystery I hope to enjoy. On that mysterious note, we have reached the end of my summer TBR. As I've mentioned in the beginning, my mood is going to mood as it pleases, so I'm not planning on reading these books in any particular order, and there probably will be some more thrown into the mix. However, I am very excited for this TBR and plan on jumping in immediately. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love to hear if you have any summer reading plans yourself, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you soonish. Bye! Okay, that's enough for me.